out called Bleeding Edge. Now, Bleeding Edge is from what was they called again? Team Ninja Theory or something like that. Now, there were a bunch of people who were famous for designing a previous series of games. One of them was like Kung Fu Hustle something movie game, which was probably the only game I know them for. I think they did some other things. But basically, Bleeding Edge is one of those hero sort of fighting games that we have seen from, say, basically Overwatch is probably one of the most noticeable ones. The difference here is, unlike Overwatch, where it was pretty much a first-person shooter, this game is mostly over the camera sort of viewpoint, and most of the game focuses heavily on melee combat basically. So there are characters who do have range weapons, but they tend to be more in the minority. There's not as many as them are, and the game looks pretty good. I'm not sure if I would say is excellent. It certainly has drawn my attention. I'm not sure if I will pay for it or not. Several of the characters are interesting. I did forget several of the names. One of the characters reminds me of a raptor, even though she's supposed to be a bird, and immediately I just know someone is gonna put the Big Butt song near her or something like that. Also, for some weird reason, I always keep thinking Black Swan was there, even though I've never watched the movie. Also, probably one of my most favorite characters is actually a support, as I have never been a fan of tanks. I have always preferred either being the character in the background or the guy who just helps people like, rah, 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 go team, go team. Yeah, I'm kind of that kind of person. And I forgot his name, but he's like some kind of guy who's lived up to 300 and now he's in a robotic body of a snake controlling a zombie, which is, well, technically it's a corpse, but zombie, never mind. Which is pretty cool, and especially I like the whole voodoo theme, even though it's not proper voodoo, but then again, when is voodoo ever going to be properly depicted in medium at any time? Which reminds me, actually, are we ever going to get a Brother Voodoo movie? Like, seriously, can someone give some Brother Voodoo love? Again, I'm getting off topic. Anyway, yeah, like I said, there's several characters in it. Some of them are more interesting, like I said, the voodoo guy and that crazy chicken-looking lady. Others, not so much. Most of the tanks don't really grab my attention all that very much. Some of the characters are really well designed and interesting, and some of them, There's Australian character, which is always good to see more Australians, being myself a fellow Australian, but I just don't find her design as interesting or as inspiring as some of the other characters, even though she looks very fun, she has a giant mech. Oh, and that's the one thing I forgot about this game that really does grab my attention, is the fact that, unlike a lot of other Heroes sort of base combat games, you actually get the ability to choose two different special, like ultra special abilities that you can use, which I find is interesting, because this is the one thing I always have a problem with these kind of games, is that even though I have kind of played a few bit of, what was it again, Rainbow Six, I didn't really get into the game because I'm terrible at realistic shooters. But the one thing I liked about it was the customability that you could have was, even as limited as it was still very interesting with your character. And this is the one thing I find is a problem with a lot of hero-based sort of fighting games, is that there's a lack of customability with your characters. And I feel like this ability to change between two different abilities really adds some interesting custom abilities, as this would allow you to do both strategies. I do feel like, though, they would have to nut out a few things to make sure that a few players don't pick one ability of the other one, just basically shedding it over. But it could be interesting to see. Like I said, the engineer character I was mentioning had the ability where you can summon a mech or ride into battle into basically a rocket, and basically the longer you traveled, the bigger the explosion would be, and it looks really fun. Now, I think that's everything I should add. Oh yeah, and that was Outrider, which is something I might do a longer video on, but basically it's a new looter shooter, and it's not very often that one catches my attention, because I am not into dungeon crawlers in general, because that's not my cup of tea, or RPG in general. I find them very boring, but it looks interesting, and certainly looks more interesting than, say, Anthem, or basically Divinity, or whatever it's called again, not Divinity, whatever that damn Bungie game was called again. Mainly because I find the elements and the abilities that this game is offering is very interesting, especially with abilities like fire, earth, and time manipulation. The only problem I do have with the game is that I do feel like it's strange that they're sort of focusing quite a bit on close range with a few of the characters, especially the Geomance and the Time Bender character. I just don't really get this, really, because this sort of comes into the unique thing about the game is that there's no healing pack. Your character heals based on what specific abilities you use, like Fire Guy's abilities, setting people on fire, and I think when they explode he heals. Time Guy is when you hit someone with a melee attack, they heal. And I forgot the Geo Guy does again. But I feel like when you have a game about guns, it seems a bit strange to me that suddenly you turn the focus back to stabbing people. You think to yourself it'd be better to turn the game more into basically bang, 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 heal, 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 that kind of way. But that's my own opinions on things. Now, those are the 3 elements. They haven't introduced a 4th one that is meant to be in the game. I'm hoping it's one that focuses a lot more on range, because I'm more into a character or person who prefers to play range-based characters more than close-range characters. I only play close-range characters when there are no guns in the situation, or if there's no choice for spellcasting. Anyway, that is everything I wanted to point out. I will probably do a longer subject matter on these things. Sorry about the terrible quality again of my video, which is probably not going to fix up. And I might come back and do something I wanted to do many years ago, but never got around to because I got distracted with other things. And let's talk about guild shows that are not quite guild shows. Anyway, it was nice seeing you again, or whatever the saying is for goodbye, Auf Wiedersehen, and have a good day.